Good afternoon and welcome everybody to the boardroom here at Hero ERA at Bicester Motion. Well, it's our makeshift studio for now, and thank you for reacting to the call of the wild as we're going to launch the Classic Safari 2027. It's going to be absolutely magical, spellbinding, and it's the first time Hero ERA have been back to South Africa in 10 years. That's very, very special indeed. With us is Eleonora Piccolo, who's our Director of Hospitality, and our Chairman of Hero ERA, Thomas de Vargas Machuca, and in a while they're going to talk you through it, along with Kim Bannister, our man in South America, and I'll explain in a little while he's there, but he is going to be our Route Finder General, our Director of the Classic Safari 2027. Now we're launching it today, and that means it will be available to enter online at the end of the Q&A after this conference. And we would urge you to consider an early entry because we all already know the interest is very high indeed. But for now, let's just get a little bit of a flavour of the intoxicating mix that lies in wait for us, the call of the wild.
Africa has a special enchantment that will leave you spellbound, and Hero ERA will be exploring all the magic that this continent has to offer on the Classic Safari in 2027. Our route takes us from the dry deserts of Namibia through to the national parks of Botswana and onto the southernmost tip of South Africa. Marvel at the coast's majestic wildlife as you take an extraordinary whale-watching excursion, truly an experience you will never forget. To sip a sundowner as the orange glow of sunset fades, accompanied by a chorus of wild animal calls, while on your own game drive will send tingles down your spine. Each day of this exhilarating adventure will see us exploring breathtaking landscapes as we journey from one luxury game lodge to another. This extraordinary 28-day, 6,500-kilometre adventure really has it all. Absorb the local culture, enjoy the sight of majestic waterfalls, deserts, mountains and jungles as you drive truly great roads. Visit South Africa's acclaimed vineyards and end the journey in style in Cape Town under the gaze of the iconic Table Mountain. Hero ERA presents the Classic Safari. So, join us in 2027 and experience the majesty of this mesmerizing land.
So, turning to you, Thomas, 10 years away. It's about time we went back, isn't it?
Well, look, it has been a long, time since the last time, we were there, and clearly geopolitics and war around the world don't always allow you to visit these wonderful continents. But, look, Africa is the home of so many iconic rallies. Not only ours, of course. So we're very much looking forward to getting it, going back there. So clearly, Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, South Africa, these offer really quite the spectacle. We're so focused on trying to deliver the most incredible motoring adventures. This one in particular, we wanted to allow it to be slightly more, if you want, livable, so in the format of the Pearl of India that we did this year, this will have less aggressive competition than some of the other events that we put on, so that you don't have to see this wonderful part of the world, with a corner of your eye at very high speeds. So there will be competition in those days, but there's obviously a lot of time allowed to go see the various natural parks and all of that wonderful African continent beauty.
It's going to have everything, isn't it?
Well, okay, I'm not sure if we can go skiing, but bar that, yeah, there's a lot in there.
Okay, great. And brilliant roads, as we will find out too. So our man, Kim Bannister, is in South America. And the reason he's there, he's doing the final recce for the Gaucho Trail. And I would remind everybody that that was so successful that it sold out within 2 weeks. So that's about to be happening next year. And the same man, Kim, is Route Finder General for us on the Classic Safari. So Kim, we're going to bring you in now from South America. I know it's a little bit in the morning for you, but you're nice and awake now. The competition that Thomas has just talked about, what will the ratio be, perhaps, of the African experience relative to the competition, do you say?
Yeah, it's a good point that Thomas makes. And really, the competition in Africa will be dictated mainly by two things, I think. The first is the availability of roads. Often in Africa, the only available road that's usable is the tarmac road, and anything else that goes to a village is simply a dirt track that goes to the village and nowhere else. The second, and maybe most important one, is the experience, because if the day, this is an event of experience to experience to experience, and in all honesty, you want to have time to enjoy the experiences. So where there's the good roads, maybe not such a good experience, we'll have some competition. Other days, maybe less so, more experience, less competition. And I would think, ratio wise, we're probably talking sort of 85% of it will be experience, lovely driving, another experience, and 15% will be competition, dirt roads, maybe race circuits, these types of things.
Okay, so mild competition, but it still will be stressful on the car. So car preparation is vital, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Africa is notoriously, or can be notoriously bad when the rains have been. So yeah, preparation of the vehicle is very important. And also, of course, self-preparation is also vital, because of the climate and the heat that we can and may experience at times.
Okay, great. Thanks for now, Kim. We'll come back to you in a little while. Let's turn to Ellie now, because this promises to be a full African sensory experience. So tell us a little bit about that and some of the events that maybe you and Kim are planning.
Yeah, sure. The Classic Safari will be a blend of motoring, classic motoring, and nature and safari. So you truly be immersed in the safari adventure, but with the privilege of driving through it in your classic or vintage car.
So there is the potential then for going on game drives, which is something quite wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. We will work with Kim to build in sufficient time in key locations to allow for game drives either in the morning or in the evening, and there will be plenty of time to enjoy the settings.
Even a bit of whale watching.
Absolutely.
Even a bit of wine sampling.
Well, that's for sure.
Okay, well, look, I think it's important that everybody knows this. What you're planning, you have certain limitations. Therefore, it is a very exclusive experience. So perhaps you could elucidate a bit.
Due to the location and access, the lodges are immersed in nature, and only a few people ever stay there at the same time. And therefore, that the nature of the event dictates that it would be a closed number event for allowing everyone who is experiencing the rally to truly immerse themselves in the nature and in the lodges that we will stay at. The service is truly spectacular, as well as the attention to detail, so it's literally immersed in nature and in the safari experience.
I think, as Thomas said, it is a magic continent, Africa, South Africa in particular, and where we're going there. Now, you were working in 2017 on Classic Safari with ERA, and you've experienced all of that. I mean, just tell us sort of the sensory experience of sitting there at a sunset and sipping a cocktail and watching the sun go down and hearing the animals in the distance.
Well, that's one of the moments where you feel like time is pausing, and you have the emotion of being where you are, the big nature around you, literally, and the calm that it brings. But at the same time, having enjoyed a day of adventures.
Amazing. Okay, well, look, to tell us a little bit more now, we'll bring in Kim Bannister, our man in South America, temporarily, to give us the highlights, Kim, of the journey from the East Coast across to the West.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks, Tony, for that. I think the first thing to say is that the brief for the event was quite simple. You know, we haven't been there for 10 years. Let's make it something special. Let's make it something different. Let's make it something unique. And so the idea was to start on the West Coast, on the skeleton coast of Africa in Namibia. That will then avoid the long and often difficult journey up from Cape Town, as previous events have done. And we can then get straight into the action and straight into the wildlife. So our first trip leaving Swakopmund will be to head south to Sossusvlei. Sossusvlei has some dramatic sand dunes, wonderful experience, and actually maybe there we can get Thomas's skiing in. At least we can do a bit of dune skiing. Also, it's a salt pan, and from your lodge you'll be able to look down into the salt pan and see your first wildlife, although this time at a distance. From there we're going to turn north and go via the capital, Windhoek, on our way to the first genuine game experience in the Etosha Park. On our first night, we're going to stay to the western side of the Etosha in some nice lodges before the chance the following day to drive through the Etosha. It's about 180 kilometers, and you'll be able to drive through, and then we're going to stay again in luxury lodges on the eastern side of the reserve. Plenty of opportunity there to see things as we then move eastwards as we head towards Botswana. So from the Etosha, we're going to go across the Caprivi Strip and right across the top of Namibia and going into Popper Falls. Popper Falls is a beautiful location. It's not deep, it's not high falls, it's just wide, lovely, and you do get the opportunity to stand there and watch the falls with the final gin and tonic of the evening, or the first gin and tonic of a long evening in your hand, depending upon what you're going to be doing. From Popper Falls, we're going to go into Botswana and through the Chobe. Now, the Chobe has one of the largest elephant populations in the world. So you will almost certainly see elephants crossing the road in front of you, crossing waters close to you, grazing, nesting in the trees, nudging the trees, shall we say, next to you as you drive through. Great opportunity before we have our overnight halt in the town of Kasane. Stopping in Kasane again gives us the opportunity to charter planes and fly everyone into the Okavango Delta. Now, the Okavango Delta is probably a unique experience. It's a very different game viewing from anything else you'll see, because it's more water based. So you've got all of the hippo, you've got all the crocodile and everything else to go with it. But there is also land viewing as well. Luxury lodges. And the reason again for flying people in by planes is because you'll be going to a number of lodges. None of them are particularly big. And again, the chance to do some great game viewing and then sit around the campfire with the guides and rangers of the evening, enjoying their experiences as well. From there, we're going to move back to Kasane on the plane the following the morning. And then our drive will head south down through Botswana to the town of Nata. Nata is a small town, but it lies on the edge of a big salt pan with some amazing bird life. And the plan is that we'll go out on a drive in local jeeps, local safari vehicles, out into the salt pan for you to go and watch the game and the birds before heading back to the lodges for dinner. Our journey will continue then south and into South Africa and across to one of a personal favourite and a personal highlight of mine, which is the Sabi Sands Reserve, a private game reserve, a private concession as it's called, close to the Kruger National Park. Now, although camps in this area don't have fences, to keep the animals in. The animals know where they're safe, and of course, in these places, hunting is not allowed, so the animals stay there. And in Sabi, apart from having fantastic accommodation and great guiding and ranger support, you'll be able to see a whole wide range of animals, not just the big five, but also things like wild dog, which are very rare, hyena, leopard, cheetah, pretty much everything in here. From there, we're going to take a bit of a self-drive through Kruger and then on into Eswatini, as was previously called the Swaziland. So we're going to stay close to the capital that night in Mbabane, again, just to give you a flavour of something very different, then a drive through the rest of Eswatini and out, and our next port of call, which is going to be the Phinda Game Reserve. Phinda, again, private concession, fabulous accommodation, and here it's a little bit unique in that you'll actually be staying in glass cubes, so you get a wonderful array, game viewing around you, and actually you'll have animals coming through the park. The first time I ever went there, we had to wait in our car while a lioness continued to hunt as she came through, and then we were able to go to our accommodation. And that's what you can get in Africa, very much close up to the animals. From Phinda, again, another change. We're going to head over to the east coast, near Durban, and a place called Umhlanga. And Umhlanga has a wonderful hotel called the Oyster Box. The Oyster Box is, as I say, an oasis in this area. If you happen to like Indian food, and I hope you do, then the Indian influence in the Durban area says the Oyster Box serves some of the best curries and the best Indian food anywhere. So you'll have a chance to enjoy that over a rest day. So having filled yourself up with curries, we're going to continue down the coast and then head inland to our final land game viewing in Shamwari. Shamwari is another private reserve. Again, animals know where they're safe, so there's lots and lots of animals, lots and lots of game watching there, together with luxury accommodation, fabulous food, fabulous hospitality. So by now you've seen enough of Africa and African animals. You maybe want something a little bit different. So we're going to turn and head to the coast. Firstly to Plattenberg and then down to one of the whale watching capitals of the world at Hermanus. Chance to go out on a trip, actually see the whales right close up in their natural habitat. Having enjoyed that and also the wonderful marine hotel, we're going to give you the final chance to enjoy an evening together, just all the competitors, in Stellenbosch at the lovely Lanzarote estate. Lanzarote, again, beautiful hotel, fabulous food, most impressive wine list, as you would expect, and a chance to enjoy a few glasses of the local red or white before a nice evening together. Leading to our final day as we head down into Cape Town. But we're not just going to take the short main road route. That would be too easy. We're going to approach Cape Town using the toll road over Chapman's Peak. And Chapman's Peak is a lovely road which runs alongside the coast, so you get the chance to be able to see and approach Cape Town with the sea to your left, to finish under the view of Table Mountain in the Table Bay, the V&A waterfront area. A memorable place to finish, a memorable event, truly a wonderful experience of Africa, which I'm sure most of you will never, ever forget.
Yeah, thank you, Kim. You've got us all salivating here, that is for sure. Question for you. You are advocating that competitors, would-be competitors, use soft-top cars so that they can breathe in all those incredible senses and the sights of South Africa. Isn't that a bit dangerous with all this wildlife about?
No, it's a good point. I mean, the great thing about a soft-top car is, you drive in the environment rather than through it. And I think that's, with Africa, with the big skies and everything else. It's a fabulous way to see it. As long as you've got the top and most importantly the side windows, you'll be fine. So put the soft top up, put your side windows in, and you're okay to go through the 2 or 3 self-drives that we've actually got. On the normal road, of course, it's no problem at all. And animals actually are very used to, particularly in the game reserves, the silhouettes of cars. They're not seen as a threat. They understand that there may be people in them, but they don't worry about it. And they're quite happy for you to drive alongside. But as long as, I say, you've got the side windows in and the roof up, you'll be fine.
Kim, tell us a little bit about the security along the route. Some people might worry about that.
Yeah, I think it's something that's always mentioned when people talk about South Africa. First thing to say is, obviously, we're going to be avoiding the major trouble area, such as Johannesburg. The camps themselves, of course, are very secure because they work with the local communities. It's a fairly symbiotic relationship in that they buy the produce that the local villagers produce, and in turn everybody is safe and secure in those sorts of places. Otherwise, though, it's the usual sort of simple security measures. Don't wear anything obvious signs of wealth, shall we say. Don't wear flashy jewelry, keep your Rolex hidden, or don't wear the Rolex. Don't leave things out in view in the car, because that's just open to petty theft, which is obviously the most important thing. And don't leave the cars unlocked when you go and fill in at a gas station. Try and always leave one of you in the car. And these sorts of things, just simple, sensible security measures, and I don't believe we'll have any problems at all.
Will we have any problems on the borders? Because sometimes we do get delays, which are inevitable. What about in South Africa?
No, anybody who's experienced East Africa borders and the chaos that reigns there will be very pleasantly surprised. Because we're in a single customs area, you don't have to start worrying too much about the carnet, because once it's stamped in, it will be stamped out again at Cape Town, and that's fine. Generally on the borders, you'll arrive, you'll be given a slip of paper with a couple of boxes to stamp. You'll go into the border post, produce your passports, produce your car paperwork. Very occasionally they may check to make sure that it actually complies in terms of chassis numbers and these types of things. You get your stamps on the white slip of paper and you hand that in as you exit the border. Generally easy, generally light in terms of traffic. Most of the times, if it's a truck border, they're taken separately. So no, it's not and never has been a problem in that part of Africa crossing borders.
Okay, great. Thank you for now, Kim. That's wonderful. Thomas, turning to you, I'm sure you're already thinking about what sort of car you can enter, but what cars can enter into the Classic Safari?
Well, look, I mean, obviously, we are keen to promote pre-war motoring. So clearly what Kim was mentioning about soft top cars is heavily in trying to promote pre-war motoring. But as we've been doing for a while now, we will accept out of the 30 cars that we will accept for the event, 5 will be available for those who want to have up to 1985. This is our plight to try to attract younger enthusiasts, and of course younger enthusiasts resonate, younger cars resonate more with younger people. It's just a dynamic that we all had. And of course, the classic 4x4 category. I'm actually thinking of the Series 1 Land Rover from 1952, the lights through the grille kind of thing, which is
Maybe
good.
You have one of those.
No, I do have one of those.
Okay. Yeah.
Not sure how I'll counterbalance the canvas doors and the big claws of the tigers trying to hitch a ride from the Landy. But anyway, if you're taking Series 1 Range Rovers, Toyota FJs, early series Land Cruisers, these cars are so iconic in Africa, in the southern part of Africa. You can't not allow these cars in. I think they're purposeful. I think they're great. I think they're underrepresented, and so 5 will be open to those.
It sounds like an incredibly authentic event, and you're just talking about the sort of cars that we could see on there, but it's also for all comers. So beginners, as much as experts, will want to look at doing this rally. Can we cope with all of those?
Yeah, look, I think what we've seen, for these events like the Pearl of India we did with this format, and as we're looking to the Classic Safari, the fact that the competition element is less, if you want, intense, allows for beginners to feel that they're more in control, and it doesn't quite sweep them off their feet. And for obviously the competitive participants will know that this format isn't as competitive. So they might choose a more leisurely car, and and enjoy seeing all that this part of the world has to offer without it being at speeds where you have to concentrate 110% on the road. So hopefully this will attract enough participants from either end of the capabilities without leaving anything without feeling that they've missed out. Either the competitive ones say this was too easy, or the beginners going, God, that was a bit of a handful event.
So therefore, everybody, it will be a level blue and green event, and you can see on the slide what the indication is there. But Thomas, I'm sure you would advocate an early entry.
So we've been, and we are very grateful that the adventure motoring, if you want, community has given us so many thumbs up. And since the disruption that we all faced across different platforms in different countries from COVID and whatnot, we've seen that over the last couple of years we've been filling up our events at a remarkably fast rate. I suspect this is going to be the same if I look at by the number of expressions of interest that have already come through to the office. We're talking about 90 people have said, I want to know more about it. Not everybody will convert, but it is 3 times more than what is available physically on the ground. So my suggestion is, if you're really serious about it, and because you've got time to organize yourself, being in March 2027, the event. If you're serious, don't delay, because you might be out of a place. And then there's nothing we can do. This is not about there's simply not enough lodges in the areas that we're going to attract more people. I mean, I can sleep in a tent. I don't have a problem if they allow us to, but it's not as if we're being difficult or cute about small number. These are physical limitations.
Those wild animals will still find you in your tent, whether you're hiding in
my wonderful
your
canvas doors. I mean.
Okay, so Thomas is advocating an early entry there, and entries will be open after the question and answer session here. And so you can go to the webpage on Classic Safari on the heroera.com. But also, Thomas, just to remind people that if they do enter in the first week, it's 5%.
Yeah, so we to thank and recognize those early commitments, there will be a 5% discount on the entry fee. Now, the entry fee will be a little bit higher than what our standard fees are, which is usually roughly about 2,100, 2,200 per car per day. This one, obviously, some of these lodges are particularly expensive. So we're going to start with pre-discount £2,600 per car per day, so roughly 72,000 and change pounds for the whole event for the 28 days, 5% off that. The limitations of 30 cars and very expensive hospitality push us in a corner, and that's it's difficult to get it organized with a lower fee.
And if you're under 35 and a driver?
So that's different. So that's where we are paradoxically happy to subsidize, because this is obviously the next generation of classic car enthusiasts. So anybody who's under 35, as of the day of entering the event, not on the day of the event. So it's not as if we're poaching at 19-year-olds who will grow up. Anyway, there's a 30% discount as it applies to actually all of our events across the platform.
Okay, Thomas, thank you for now. Ellie, thank you for now. Kim in South America, thank you very much for now. We're going to take a very short break and show you a few more slides, a little bit more colour, and then we'll be back with you shortly for the questions and answers. Thank you very much. So, back to Africa in 2027, the first time back to South Africa for Hero ERA in 10 years. The last one was 2017. And it's a very exciting prospect, as I'm sure you all agree, and I hope you enjoyed the formal part of the launch and our video to get your appetites all whetted on there as well. So before we move to your questions and our answers, a big apology, because Eleonora Piccolo, who's our Director of Hospitality, has had to go to attend to an urgent matter. Everything's okay, but she's had to go sort a few things out. So apologies. But Thomas and Kim, who's in South America, are both ready to answer any questions, and particularly Kim, if it's on hospitality, because he's been to a lot of those hotels and lodges along the way. So let's also describe this for you, because most of you know that this is Zoom style. It is not a webinar as such. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. You know the function in the bottom of the screen there, and then we will come to you as soon as you can. We'll unmute you because you're muted for now, and then go onto your webcam, and we can get on with your particular question. Some people just want to watch and soak it all in. That's absolutely fine. Some people I know don't want to ask any questions, but as you know, you have your message box, your chat box there, and you can send us a little message, and they'll come through to my iPad, and we can get them either way. But Thomas and Kim can certainly help. Okay, so one has popped up on my message. If you're being a bit more lenient on types of car that can enter, as your chairman suggested, how far off the regular does he mean? And that's from Horst Hamann in Germany.
Thank you, Horst. First of all, the good reason why it's good to share questions is because a lot of people might have the same question, and these are answers. So don't be shy. But of course, if you want to ask questions offline, calling me directly or anybody else on the team, of course, it's always a pleasure to clarify and speak with you, good friends. To answer your question, we're being lenient. Are we being lenient, or are we trying to be more consistent with where the next generation of enthusiasts find their dream cars? That happened to us. It happens for every generation. So I think we just need to recognize that. In the real world, I just don't want to exclude the next generation. I don't want to deviate too much. So, you know, when we talk about cars up to 1985, you know, maybe some people will have some Peugeots that are 1978, 79, which would be typically farewell in Africa. Of course, Peugeots in Africa are very famous, even though that was on the East African Safari with a Peugeot 504 and 77, beating the almighty Lancia Stratos of Druz Munari, actually, but that's another story for another time. But you know, so it's those kind of cars. I mean, obviously, we rely on your own enthusiasm to find a purposeful and fun car. So this is why we have the invitation only concept. So if you're going to come up with an Austin Princess, which has its own merits. Not very many, but it does have its own merits. You know, we can say maybe another car. When it comes to the 4x4s, same thing. You know, we don't want a modern 1995 air-conditioned, you know, button-driven, you know, kind of Range Rover. But of course, a Series 1 Range Rover, Series 1 Land Cruisers, FJs, those that really were so popular in Africa during those periods, which, by the way, also rallied. I mean, you can Google Range Rover rallying, and you can see that thing spinning on all four wheels on some African safari. You know, they did a lot of Parida cars. So I want to shake things up just a little bit to be consistent. I don't want to take away the nature of what we do. So I think that was a good question, and hopefully you'll have sympathy or indeed agree with our approach.
Okay, Claudia Holter, who's one of our regulars and one of our good friends, is online, and Claudia's got a question for us. So we're going to highlight you, Claudia, and then away you go.
Well, it's transportation. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Regarding the transportation into South Africa of the cars, who is going to do it, and what is the lead time before the departure of the containers, and where are the containers going to be grouped?
Right. So we haven't got that far. We'll be talking to obviously our regular suppliers. So that will be Cars UK. I might open up the tender to other transport companies. Of course, for the Peking to Paris, there's limitations in terms of what other transporters actually can deliver cars into China. Namibia doesn't have that same, if you want, restrictions, so we can look at other providers. We'll be speaking to our logistics teams, Cars and the other guys, and we'll come back to you with some dates, indicative costs for the arrival into Namibia and for the pickup from South Africa. Of course, there's an entry point is different to the exit point. I don't have it right now. It'll be very difficult to get an accurate pricing now because, of course, you know, shipping lines publish their fares very late. But we should be able to give you a ballpark number of, say, you know, $10,000 whatever dollars, say, round trip. You know, there and back, and we'll confirm that and any other requirement.
Well, it's important to have the lead time for those people who want to prepare their cars so they're not going to run late.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, for all of us in particular, you know, absolutely, this is a March event. So I would expect to be, I mean, I would, you know, usually it's 3 to 4 months in advance. Some countries have longer import periods. I will get back to you. That will be probably in the next newsletter as we clarify your question and many other questions so that we can answer them all in one go, Marco and Claudia.
Okay. Question to Kim. Hi, Kim. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. It has been a few years since we saw you last time. And actually, 2017, is this more or less the same route, only the other way around?
No. It's a lot different. Inevitably, you use some of the same camps because they're the best ones, and obviously, for you important people, we should take you to the best places. But other than that, no, it will be certainly very different to what we've done before. Starting over on the west coast, over in Swakopmund, was really the starting point for that. So straight away we can get into things that earlier than we did before and allow us a little bit more time to explore some other parts of Africa that we haven't been to.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Welcome back.
And nice to see you both.
Okay, for now, Claudia, Marco, happy with that? Okay, super. Right, let's move on. In Lewin has a question. Do we have any more specific dates yet, please, Thomas?
No. Well, look, the specific dates will be a function of just closing up the different kind of working elements. Now we're running on the assumption of a full event. Once we confirm that, we'll have the better dates. But we are looking at realistically, it'll be the last few days of February into the first 3 weeks of. The mid March to mid April is realistically the timing. We had to move some dates before from February March to March April because not everything worked out, and also some of our participants who are currently on the Gaucho, registered on the Gaucho, who also want to do this. We didn't want to necessarily make sure that they didn't have time. It'll be difficult for them to do it with the same car. We accept that, but that was the better day. And then, of course, all the other technical consideration in terms of, heat, temperature, light hours, rainy periods, and all the rest of it were considered. So 15th of March, 11th of April should be subject to no other changes the dates.
Okay. Ian, is that okay for you? Happy with that answer? Because we have, okay, good. We have a question that's coming on the message board here from Jürgen. Said, probably for you this one, Kim, what sort of different roads are you going over? And therefore, what is the suggestion on preparing or the type of car?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'd love to be able to leave that one until I've completed the recce, but there will be inevitably gravel roads, there will be dirt roads, there will be mud roads. Ideally, of course, we'll avoid the worst and the roughest patches, but there has to be some because of the nature of the country. So I think you would certainly want to be considering underbody protection, obviously, as good as a means, maybe a slightly increased ground clearance than you would normally run on some events. But I think other than that, it's just the normal sensible procedures. As we said before, when you're looking to choose the car, be sensible with Africa. Don't take anything that's too fragile. Consider the cars that actually are used over there, Mercedes, Peugeot, these types of things. We're sort of built to last. So I think underbody protection, sensible suspension, think about your tyres. Those things would be the starting point for deciding the car you use. I hope that answers it.
Yeah, I mean, if I can just add, Jürgen, was it?
Jürgen, yeah.
Jürgen, the important thing is to understand how whatever car you choose reacts if you want, pretty hot weather with a lot of sand. Of course, sometimes you'll be following in convoy or whatever, and typically what we found is a lot of the rally routes that we find or that we choose that are gravel end up having pretty fine dust that just sits in the air. So, and a lot of that dust then is sucked in from your carburetors into your engine, which creates a lot of damage. So I would put a lot of effort into making sure you have the proper air filtering systems, easy things to clean. Check that your radiator's functioning on African temperatures and not European temperatures. An aluminium rad is not necessarily the most expensive things to do. I wouldn't worry about finding a car with all the performance in the world unless you really want to use that car, in which case they're very welcome to do so, because of the format of this is not about absolute speed. So find a comfortable car. It is 28 days. Yes, we go to amazing eco lodges and there's enough time to go and see whales and all the rest of it. So you're not as if you're doing 20 hours a day in the car, like say in the P2P, but nonetheless, 28 days in a car is a feat regardless. So just bear that in mind. But for all of this, all these questions, suggestions, happy to take this offline with anybody else individually going through cars. Because if you're using a car that we know of, then we have all of our friends and our wider community that will share what gremlins they found out and how to mitigate them regarding what model. So it's all about sharing sharing what you're going to use, and our participants sharing how they've mitigated it.
Okay, Jürgen, I hope you're happy with that answer. It's pretty comprehensive from both sides there. Now, there's a double question here coming your way, Kim, as to your assertions during the presentation. I would like to take a soft top car, but I'm worried about our safety despite what's being said, especially in the self-drive game reserves. Animals may be having a bad day. Can Kim assure us of our safety? And in addition to that, Claudia Holter said, so long as we can close our car, cabriolet completely plus the windows, so are we allowed to drive through the reserves once we do that? Because we know couples which had to drive, they know couples have had to drive a different way. So 2 questions in one for you to answer, please, Kim.
Sure. I mean, taking the first one probably leads into the second. In terms of the safety, yes, I think, as I said before, the animals understand the profile of a car. They're very used to seeing cars on self-drives all the time, so they don't worry about them. You'll quite happily drive along, and the animals will walk past you or walk across the front of you and will take no notice of you at all. If you get out of the car, that's the dangerous thing. Then you break the profile of the car and suddenly you become a threat to them. So stay in the car and you'll be safe. Taking the second point, yes, for sure, we've had occasions in the past where they've asked people to go round. And I should say at the same time, for anybody who is really worried about it, there will be an alternative route for at least two self-drives. So it's a slightly longer route, but you would avoid the need to drive through the park if you really don't want to. And that goes for everybody, not just those with a soft top. We will check and make sure that the parks are happy. They've not been a problem in the past, but I think, as with all of these things, a little bit of pre-preparation and pre-warning of them will mean that we don't have the issue of you suddenly turning up and them saying, oh, no, we weren't expecting you. We'll tell them we may have some soft top cars. We'll explain that these are enclosed cars, not the case of having the open sides or open tops. And generally, we've been okay with that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kim. So that was a double question from Peter Blake in Australia and from Claudia Holter as well. Now, we have one here from Sarah and Jeff saying, we are total beginners and need to know if we can cope with this event and whether there would be any help.
Well, I mean, so it's a very good question. Can you cope with it? Very difficult to say. I don't think we've ever met before, but put it this way. If you're serious, we'll do everything that we need to do to make sure that you are obviously capable. It's not rocket science. It needs a little bit of practice, certainly in this format. If you're UK based, join us on the novice trial. That will give you the tools for which to enjoy, maximize your enjoyment on the Safari Classic. And in terms of help, yes, of course, every rally that we organize comes with mechanical assistance and medical support from that perspective. And what you will find as novices, and everybody really tries to help each other. So, novices are usually taken under the wing of somebody else and say, look, this is what happens. This is how you read a tulip. There's obviously a little bit of a disconnect between, say the novice trial, you do it, you get it, a few months get by, you're then sitting in the car, you're in Namibia and like, well, what is it that we have to do with this stopwatch kind of thing? So other more regular competitors usually help out. I mean, this is a community of competitive people who will stop and give priority to helping others, whatever their plight might be, relative to competition. So the answer to your question is yes, there will be help. If there's more specific help that you need, which I'm not getting from your question, again, please feel free to call me and we'll try to help in any way, shape, or form. This is meant to be accessible, not exclusive because of the limitations that we discussed, but accessible for most people who have an interest in motor vehicle adventures.
So info@hero-era.com. for any of your questions that you want to ask or you think about afterwards. We're also recording the whole of this presentation and the questions and answers, and they will be on our YouTube channel. So for those of the people that you might know who've missed it, or you want to watch it again and check out what we said about a certain thing, then you can check that out as well. Now we have another question, quite popular questions coming in. Not necessarily everyone wants to talk to us on the Zoom style. Here's a question. Kim, I think I'll direct this one at you. We are not so sure about the general security across South Africa. There are many stories. So how can you say it's a safe route? And that's John Snyder in the US.
Yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate the concerns. As with so many of these things, often the news reports are overblown, and the situation isn't as bad as it seems to be. As I said earlier, we won't be going near Johannesburg, which I guess of all the places is the worst, and I accept that. We will also, of course, not only through the recce check everything out, but also be running under the advisement of the agents over there as to the areas that we should use. So as I said earlier, I don't believe this to be a problem in the places that we're going to. We're not going to be taking you into places of danger and risk. Often times, of course, you'll all be traveling together. So there's a security in that number. And if you as well just take the basic rules of, keeping the car locked, don't leave valuable things in sight, you simply won't have the issues that people fear and worry about so often. So no, I don't think security is an issue, providing we're sensible.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we know Martin Hunt is with us because we can see him as well, but Martin has asked a question, probably for both of you. Do we have an expected daytime temperature range for the weeks that the rally will take place? Also, do we expect to have much rain? Kim?
Yeah, let me take that one. This is the sort of after the rainy season. So in some respects, it's a sort of slight move back to allow as well for cars from the Gaucho to be able to get there, and some of the people to be able to get there. This is after the rainy season, so we should be going into the dry period. Sensibly, we're into sort of late spring, early summer, that type of thing. And so in some, autumn going into winter, of course, we'll be looking for probably 25 to 30 as an average daily temperature. Nights, of course, are much colder, and so it's always a good thing to have a jacket ready for the evening when you're sat out on the game drives, having your sundowners, because it can be a little bit chilly. But during the day, it will be pleasantly and sometimes very warm indeed, particularly in the sort of Namib desert area.
Okay.
Martin, I hope you're not asking that question to try to attempt to put the roof on your Bentley, because that will not be accepted.
Okay. Right. Let us go back to Claudia, please, because she would like to ask another question. Claudia?
No, I more was a thumb up because of the question from this couple who asked that they were a very new competitor and are capable. So it was more like this, that they can be for sure that there's the competitors will help, and also then the team of you, because we were with you very often, and we were very fine always. So there is no doubt. So that's what I say.
Thank you.
There you are. And for reference, in case you beginners want to know, Claudia is a top 10 finisher on P2P and a great finisher of P2P. One of our leading ladies, there she is, a huge success. You're looking at her right now. So we have a question from Wout in the Netherlands, who says, what is excluded in the entry and what is included?
So what is included is obviously food and beverage, accommodation. The rally in itself is insured. It includes mechanical assistance. It includes the medical support. It includes all the authorizations that we need from an organization perspective to cross borders and whatnot. What is not included is obviously the transport of the car, which is it's a contractual obligation that you encounter directly with the company. We can suggest which ones to use because of track record, but ultimately that's your relationship. The insurance of your car, medevac, repatriation, fire, theft, your personal belongings, that is on you. So unlike other rallies that I've been on where the entry fee is just the rally and then you pay for your hotel, this is all included. Now, obviously drinks in the bar afterwards may not be included, but a lot of participants end up doing the round, so you don't want to be in an evening with more than 10 participants because it'll be 10 rounds of whatever is going on that evening. No, but jokes aside, it is all comprehensive. And again, for the insurance, we will put you in contact with a broker that effectively works with the local underwriters for third-party liability and all the other elements from that perspective. So if I haven't been clear, please feel free to again call me or clarify on the question board if I've answered correctly or not, because it is a good question.
And also, Thomas, just to add to that, because you did make the point quite emphatically about the level of accommodation, the cost of the lodges, the luxury, etc. Not just that, but then you have airplanes going in and out to certain places and then other transportation.
I mean, exactly. So to the best of my knowledge, but all the activities in the park, that's all obviously included. It's not as if every day there's £100 for this and £100 kind of for that. There will be like all these eco lodges. They will then go there and they give you a menu of different options of what you want to do. Some of these options will be obviously paid for, but there's a lot of organization that goes behind the scenes. Look, some of these eco lodges are £2,000-3,000 a night per person. Unfortunately, therefore, it just increases the whole cost of the event. There's really nothing really we can do to bring. So we're trying to make it as comprehensive as possible. Look, we're in Africa, and we want to choose the best available there from a security, from a food, from a hygiene perspective, and then obviously later on we will provide a medical guidance as to what vaccines are needed, what to bring from a medical perspective, reactions, bug bites, and all of that, which is obviously kind of important. But yeah,
in fact, there are 2 or 3 of the reserves which are mosquito free. Would that be right to say, Kim?
Yes, they are. Yeah, a large area of Africa is actually malaria free. Inevitably, some areas it's sensible to take precaution, and certainly your doctor would be able to suggest or prescribe the best of the malaria tablets for you to take as part of your overall vaccination package that you would need.
Okay, now Stephen Bancroft here from Hong Kong came in a little bit late, but perhaps it's good to answer his question anyway, because he says, how do we get the cars there?
Oh, yes. So we work with different logistic partners. They will offer dates. There'll typically be 3 hubs. There'll be a European hub, a UK hub, and a US hub. But why not, an Asian hub? They will tell us where the pickup points are. And different pickup points, depending on what shipping line they go, will have different dates. So, some cars will have to be ready before others. But usually we provide, once we know who the participants are and we know where they're trying to come from, then certain hubs are created by the transport companies, and that will be presented to you. Of course, this is if you bring your car. If you want to take a car from our fleet, then they leave from the UK. But yeah, dates and locations will be provided by the different companies that we will suggest you use.
Okay. All right, everybody around the world, we are about to wrap up certainly the formal part of the Q&A and the presentation. Just to remind you all that it is being recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel, so you can see it all on there. Thomas and other members of competition team, Kim, etc., will be able to answer questions through the info email that I gave you just a little while ago. And just to remind you what Thomas said to you, it's 5%, Thomas?
Yeah, 5% discount for that. We now, this is the process that we run on launch days for 1 week. So there's a 5% discount, and of course there's a 30% discount for all those who are 35 or younger at the date of registration. This is our commitment to try to be as friendly and economically, if you want, fair as possible. We don't have a 30% margin for those who are trying to calculate that, so we are subsidizing the younger generation, but I think it's the right thing to do. I think it'll be a spectacular event. You know, Kim doesn't really need much introduction, but for those who don't know Kim Bannister, he's one of the, I would say, grandfathers of everything that we do today. He's been in the business. Well, he rallied competitively for in his youth, and then and all that experience now translates into finding fantastic venues and routes. You've done many P2Ps, so I'm expecting this to be a real opportunity to enjoy our cars in this amazing place with obviously like-minded people. Bring quirky cars. I'm really thinking a Series 1 Land Rover 1951/52, pretty uncomfortable car. Don't know what I'm going to do about the windows and the glasses, because that's all canvas that can be ripped off by lions and not by tigers. I was corrected by the media team, by the way, ones in Asia. And hopefully we can go and spend 28 days together exploring this wonderful part of the world with our motoring enthusiasm kind of badge on. And so you let us know what your feedback is and any questions, of course. But thank you for today. That's been great to have you online.
And I think anybody that's experienced this in Africa will want to do it again. And if you haven't experienced in Africa, especially this incredible motoring event, well, we really urge you to do it. And especially the fact that there are only 30 entries, a very exclusive entry indeed. Thank you all for joining us. As Thomas said, it's great. Keep sending your questions if you need to, and we'll answer them at info@hero-era.com. For now, thank you very much indeed. And for those of you, we'll see you on other events. And for those of you who are entering, we'll see you in Africa. And the entries page is open right now on our website. And just go to Classic Safari 2027, and there you will find all the T's and C's and the entry form. Thank you, everybody.